San Francisco's Cliff House has lived many different lives. So many, in fact, that people today are still questioning how many versions there even were. And it's safe to say that it's experienced its fair share of tragedies, from unfortunate fires to an exploding sailboat. And now, all that remains are its forgotten ruins. Today we discover the odd history of California's Cliff House. I'm your host Ryan Socash, and you're watching It's History. San Francisco's notorious Cliff House was destroyed many times over the years because of poor safeguards. Thanks to the sponsor of this video, Guardio, you can avoid a similar fate. A safe browser is everything, and if you aren't protected, you can lose control over your private information and credentials. I know this from personal experience. On one occasion, someone claiming to be a viewer of the show sent me a PDF that they claimed was an old map. But when I opened the document, my privacy was compromised instead. Now that I have Guardio running, that would never happen. You see, Guardio is a security extension that automatically blocks dangerous downloads and harmful sites and will alert you to other suspicious activity. That phishing scam I fell for would have been detected and flagged before it could even play out. What's more, Guardio helps you clean up unwanted notifications, remove malicious extensions, and prevent search hijack, where a third party alters your browser settings without your permission. Don't worry, even if something's already happened, they have immediate solutions, and these solutions extend beyond the computer with real-time cross-platform identity monitoring, so that if you sign up through your mobile, you'll get alerts once your data is breached or leaked, so you can take immediate action. This priceless system is trusted by over 1 million users, and if you'd like to keep your information secure and have real-time protection and alerts, you can start with a free security scan that only takes 30 seconds. If you'd like to continue with the premium features, our community gets 20% off the very affordable monthly subscription. Click my link in the description or go to guard.io/itshistory now and protect your online browsing and information. Avoid installing malware and falling victim to scams, and get real-time alerts when your information could be at risk. To set the stage, let's travel back to 19th century California. On January the 24th, 1848, James Wilson Marshall found flakes of gold at the base of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Marshall was a carpenter hailing from New Jersey who at the time was building a water-powered sawmill owned by John Sutter. In Marshall's own words, quote, "It made my heart thump, for I was certain it was gold." Though Marshall and Sutter tried their best to keep the discovery a secret, word still managed to spread. In no time, the press was hot with news about the large quantities of gold being turned up at Sutter's Creek. As you can imagine, most residents of San Francisco were initially reluctant to believe such claims, but it was proven to be true when a storekeeper named Sam Brennan returned with a vial of gold from the American River. Some people even claimed that making a fortune was as easy as dipping a pan in the water. As a result, people came from far and wide, as far away as Chile, Peru, and even China, in the hopes of striking it rich. And by the time these immigrants started arriving in bulk, gold fever was in full swing. Many men risked everything to travel to California in hopes of striking gold, and in the process, leaving the women and their families an unusual opportunity to run the farms and businesses. Just a year after Marshall first found gold flakes in Sutter's Creek, the non-native population of California numbered around 100,000, compared to the pre-1848 number of under 1,000. Many gold mining towns were built at this time to accommodate the steady stream of new arrivals. Even despite the slow disappearance of surface gold, which began in 1850, California's population rose yet again to 380,000 by 1860. This exponential population increase in turn attracted the attention of those who sought to build on the scenic cliffs and saw an opportunity for profit. The origins of the first cliff house differs between sources. Some say that Samuel Brennan used lumber salvaged from a shipwreck to build the first version of the cliff house at Point Lobos. Others state that it was built in 1863 by Senator John Buckley and C.C. Butler and managed by Captain Jonius Foster. Though the structure was modest, a one-story building consisting of a wooden frame, a widow's walk balcony, and a hipped roof, its view overlooking the Seal Rock was breathtaking. Regardless of its origins, the Cliff House saw a quick rise to local fame and rapidly became an exclusive destination for wealthier citizens. At this time, it saw many esteemed guests, from U.S. presidents and politicians to established San Francisco families such as the Stanfords. However, even despite the addition of 2 new wings and the quadrupling of its original size in 1868, its popularity had already started to stagnate. In hopes of drawing in even bigger crowds, the establishment began offering gambling and alcohol. However, this only drew in more unsavory guests. As a result, its reputation was severely damaged, and many former regulars were driven away. In 1883, Adolph Sutro, the future mayor of San Francisco, purchased the Cliff House from its original owners. Under his management, the site regained much of its lost popularity. Then, with the introduction of streetcars and the opening of Golden Gate Park, there was yet another rise in tourism to the Cliff House. And just 2 years later, when everything seemed to be going great, the first and strangest tragedy in the Cliff House's history would occur despite the success. Let me explain. In 1887, a 2-mast sailboat called the Parallel ran aground on the beach below the Cliff House. It was loaded with 42 tons of illegally packed dynamite, which unfortunately exploded. People have yet to reach a consensus on whether or not the explosion was an accident. Some believe that the crew merely rowed away in panic and abandoned the vessel without extinguishing the oil lamps. Others feel that the crash was purposeful. When asked, the boat owners claimed that the Parallel should have never been that close to San Francisco and that it must have been aimed at the resort. Regardless, the ship exploded in the early morning of January the 16th. The resulting explosion was so intense that people from all across the bay could hear it. Reportedly, people over 100 miles away in Sacramento thought that it was an earthquake. The fire smashed every window and destroyed half of the Cliff House, and it wasn't long before a crowd of around 80,000 people gathered to see the damage and the remains of the ship. The Cliff House was patched up following the tragedy, put back into operation until 1889, when yet another tragedy would strike during a series of exterior and interior renovations. Guests hardly had the time to enjoy the new amenities as a chimney fire caused by a defective fire duct on Christmas Day of 1894 burnt the building to the ground. Sutro was quick to make plans to build a brand new Cliff House after the fire, calling it the Gingerbread or Victorian Cliff House. Costing $75,000, the new Cliff House was a massive 7-story structure resembling a castle, topped with lofty spires and turrets, and even an observation tower. Guests could enjoy many incredible amenities, including the resort's art and photo galleries, a gem exhibit, private lunchrooms, and an open-air veranda. It was like nothing the city had seen before, especially given the opening of the nearby Sutro Baths. These baths were amazing, boasting 6 massive swimming pools, a skating rink, and even a museum, all at a much more affordable cost. Though the Cliff House survived the 1906 earthquake, it was unfortunately still doomed. It too burnt down just a year later, on September the 7th, 1907. The fire's cause was unknown, but it was reportedly so fierce that the entire structure had been consumed by the time the first fire truck reached the site. Some people captured photos of the blaze, many of which you can still find today. By the time the fire died out, all that remained of Sutro's magnificent castle was a few brick chimneys. Sutro's daughter, Emma Sutro Merritt, who had taken over his properties after his death in 1898, obtained approval to construct a 3rd Cliff House soon after. Because of the now glaring fire hazards, she elected to have the structure made of fireproof, steel-reinforced concrete. This 3rd iteration had a much simpler and subtler design in a neoclassical architecture style. The new Cliff House was designed by the Reed brothers, who had also designed the Fairmount Hotel. The Land's End era was not exempt from the lingering effects of the Great Depression, and the Sutro estate ended up selling the property to the Whitney brothers, who also owned the nearby playland at the beach. The deal took place around 1936, and the Cliff House was then remodeled as an upscaled roadhouse. The building was remodeled once again between 1949 and 1950, called the Mid-Century Cliff House. The refurbished Cliff House was fitted with redwood and given a brand new fourth-story dining room. At one point, a sky tram ran across the basin of the Sutro Baths, bringing visitors from Point Lobos across an artificial waterfall to the exterior balcony of the restaurant. The Whitney version of the Cliff House also boasted a false chimney and a bar with windows facing the ocean and steel rocks. Because of its refurbishments, it looked entirely new, with elements of the original 1909 building buried beneath the siding. All that was visible of its remains was its west wall. However, in June of 1966, yet another fire would raise the Sutro Baths, the circumstances of which many still consider suspicious. Playland at the beach closed in 1972, and just 5 years later, the National Park Service acquired the Cliff House and made it a part of the Golden Gate National Recreational Area. In 2003, the site was renovated again, seeing the addition of a new two-story wing overlooking the remains of the Sutro Baths. But sadly, after the National Park Service could not reach a long-term contract with its operators, it was closed permanently on December the 31st, 2020. This was because of the cost of maintaining the building during the pandemic had become much too expensive for its operators. But with that being said, the Cliff House has had many ups and downs, and it's believed that in the coming years, things will work themselves out. The Cliff House's future as a museum seems most promising. Previously, it served as the site of a temporary museum exhibit called Naiad Cove, which honored the Land's End neighborhood, the Sutro Baths, and the Playland at the beach. The Sutro Baths exhibit included vintage bathing suits and even a locker room from the old building. Posters and photos lined the exhibitions, and the actual ruins of the bath were visible just outside the window. Signs from Playland at the beach occupied another room, complete with the amusement park ambiance, a wooden cowboy figure, etc. The kitchens displayed period photos and videos from the Cliff House. The restaurant even displayed various place settings and menus typical to each period. One member of the Western Neighborhoods project probably summed things up best, quote, "I think this is what makes this exhibition so wonderful and so powerful. You're really experiencing this history in the place that created it." As the National Park Service continues to search for a tenant to open a new restaurant in the Cliff House, many wonder what comes next in its story. Is there a future for this grand building? And if so, what will it continue as? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't miss our playlist on California history, and consider subscribing or joining the channel for more. Until next time, this is Ryan Sokash signing off.